It's time for... And that was...
Hello everybody, I want to welcome you to our YouTube channel and thank you for tuning in to our Friday night youth discussions. I get the awesome blessing and privilege and honor, all that good stuff, to interview my beautiful wife, Pastor Taylor. How you going?
Very good.
Want to say hey to the folks?
Hey folks.
Well, I'm really excited to interview my wife and really, it's not even really an interview. I think we're going to be asking each other questions. I think we're just going to be bouncing off each other and I'm so excited because as we were doing this, we just really felt inspired to hit some issues that are going on within the youth today and we just want to bring light to it so that people can feel freedom in that area. And I know whenever I hear this woman talk, I just get so much revelation and so much knowledge, and I'm really excited for what she's going to pour out, but what's going to come out of tonight. So with that, I've got a pretty crazy question to ask you. Are you ready? It's pretty crazy. People know what my crazy questions are.
I know what your Jordan questions are too.
What has been your favorite item of clothing through this ISO period?
Oof. Definitely my running tights.
Hey!
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been doing no running other than maybe like to go get another snack or to the bathroom.
Come on.
But they're like my favorite things to wear.
That's so good.
For sure.
Mine has been pajamas and trackies. That's it.
Yeah.
I wore jeans once to feel productive, but
I know, and I thought that was a turning point. Just for context. Jordan has been wearing trackies like non-stop. You know how when we all went into isolation, we all started wearing trackies pretty quick, and we're like, this is great.
Yeah.
Whether you're doing school from home or we were working from home, it's like, tracksuit pants in my office. That's great.
Come on.
And then I got to a point probably a few weeks in where I was like, I feel gross. That's enough tracksuit pants. But Jordan, you kept on going.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to enjoy that.
You did.
And I think I'm a little bit scared to try on my suits for work. That's what's been keeping me in my trackies. It's more like a pity party. I'm going to stay in these. It's like the only thing I can fit in.
I was like, you never got to that turning point I did where it was like, I don't want to wear trackies anymore, I feel gross, I want to feel normal and human again.
Yeah.
You just kept going, and then one day, like weeks after I already gave up on trackies, you were like, came out in jeans. I'm like, where are you going? You're like, oh nowhere, I just felt better.
Just go to the lounge room.
Yeah, and then I was like, we've reached the turning point, but the next day you were back in trackies.
Nah, needed my trackies. Yeah, like, okay, cool. So, running tights. How long have you gone without a shower through this ISO period?
Well, through this ISO period? I haven't. I've always showered every day.
Oh.
Have you not?
So then that smell is me.
That's disgusting, yes.
Oh, I thought it was you.
No, it's not me. I think everyone would,
I'm kidding.
without even knowing the shower, would everyone have assumed?
Hey.
Put in the chat if you would have assumed the smell was Jordan 100% of the time.
I am a clean dude. I'm a classy, clean, slick young man. I'm short, dark, and handsome.
You are. And sometimes smelly. It's nothing to be ashamed of.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm kidding.
Hey, stop it. Alright, what are you most looking forward to coming out of COVID-19?
Oh,
and I didn't want to say getting back to normal. I didn't want to say anything like that because I don't want to go back to normal.
Yeah, it's all
I think it needs to be a new normal.
Yeah.
So that's why I said out of COVID-19, what are you looking forward to instead of going back to normal? Because it's going to be different.
Yeah.
It has to be different.
I'm looking forward to things actually having changed.
Yeah, that's awesome.
To an extent. Like,
yeah. I
reckon this time has made us all kind of appreciate what we had before and took for granted. So I'm looking forward to that kind of appreciation, whether it's, we got to hear a lot of the youth saying before they could go back to school, I just want to go back to school. And before that, every Friday night was like, who's had a good week? Who's had a mediocre week? And you're like,
whatever.
Like, and then we got to the point where everyone was like, I just want to go back to normal school.
Yeah.
So that's like, appreciation. Work, same thing for me. I always thought working from home would be great. I was so keen to get back into the office. So other than the early mornings.
Yeah, true. That's going to be a real Shock to the system. Okay, I like that. And what is something, so I want to jump right into this discussion. What is something that you feel the youth of today, in 2020, right? I really want to put 2020 because it's been a
crazy
year. It's been a weird year, but I don't mean to be insensitive with this. I'm not trying to do that, but I'm excited. I mean, with this all happening, it just makes you think something's happening.
Yeah.
Like it can't be all of this.
Yeah.
And we serve such a big God.
Yeah.
You know, like he hurts when we hurt. He fears, well, he doesn't fear, but he is for us when we fear and when we're in angst.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what's going to happen? But what do you think the youth of 2020 really need in this time specifically? With the riots, the racism, the fires, the COVID. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
What is something as a pastor you feel?
I reckon that's a really good question. I reckon the youth now, and not just the youth, I think everybody in general.
Yeah, for sure.
I think now more than ever we're realizing we need something that's real and we need something that's sure. Like we need something we can.
I like that.
We need something we can hold on to, and like an old saying was like, hang your hat on. Like something that was like secure, always going to be there. That's where you can kind of pin your hope or like anchor yourself in. And then that means like, you know, if you think of an anchor on a ship, if you've got an anchor set, it means no matter the big waves, you stay positioned, you stay set in the right spot and you don't get thrown off course. Like, you know Moana, where...
Do I know Moana? Hey, that chicken is my...
Oh, so funny.
He's my hero.
In Moana, like, she's like battling and trying so hard to like follow that... It was the star or the constellation that looked like the hook.
Yeah.
And she was trying to follow that so hard, and every effort was going into battling each wave at the same time, not just battling the seas, but trying to figure out how to even captain a ship for the first time.
Yeah.
And then because she didn't have an anchor, and then the storm came and it threw her off. Now, I mean, the point of Moana is that was the sea helping her get to where she needed to go. But we serve a big God who, if we're anchored in Him, we're set in Him, even when it seems like we're thrown off course. I don't have to worry about that striving of trying to battle the waves or battle the storm on my own. I can be confident to know if I'm anchored in Him, if I'm set in Him, that He takes me where I need to go. He puts me where I don't even realise is the best thing for me.
That's awesome.
So,
man, I love that you can just talk about Moana and I'm like amening. And yeah, come on, girl, that's awesome. I love that. I feel it. You're so engaging when you speak. I love it. This is so much fun. So now, how do we get that? Because I really liked what you said there. Just something sure. Because there is a lot of things that are unsure right now.
Yeah.
I mean, stock markets and this and that. Not that the youth are into stock markets, but I mean,
they might be.
They might, maybe. But like, okay, just things change so much, and we don't know what's gonna hit the news tomorrow, and we're like, ugh. So how do we get that sureness? How do we...
Yeah. Well, I take it even further. It's not even... We don't even have to turn on the news for us to realise how unsure everything is. It's like... I mean, we hear at school one day this is cool, and the next day that's now the worst thing you could do for your reputation, and that's the most uncool thing ever. It like there's all these things that are constantly changing, and people's opinions are changing, and what people expect of you is changing, and what people want from you is changing, and how you fit in is changing, and how you're wanted, how you're welcome is all changing all the time based on other people.
I like that.
And I feel like that knowing something sure, having something that doesn't change, something that's unfailing, unchanging, which is exactly what, when you open the Bible, is exactly what it says the Word of God is. It's an unchanging, unfailing promise that's like, it's a sure thing. You know, it's a hope. It's something that you can hang your hat on. It's that security.
Love that.
And I would say like the way we get that is if I could place more weight or more value on that word that says it's a sure thing, rather than that person that tries to tell me this is cool, then tomorrow that's not cool. Like I reckon I can have that sureness if I trusted that his voice, God's voice, the eternal voice, is more relevant, more real than any other voice I'm going to hear in the whole world.
Yeah.
You know, like...
I love that.
It's, if I could try and this is something that like hits me too, you know, it's, if I can place more weight in who he says that I am, more than I place weight in what I feel I am, more than I place weight in what Instagram tells me I am, or what my followers tell me, or the people at school, or if I can place more weight in who he says that I am, I'm anchored to the right thing. Yeah. You know, I get that anchor that means I don't have to battle the storm alone. I still get storms. Storms still come. Yeah. But now I realize the storm sets me up better for where I need to be, rather than the storm constantly beating me and battering me and making me feel worthless or tired, tired.
And I love that story where Jesus walks on the water, you know, and his disciples are in the storm, but he walked on the very thing that was trying to drown them. Yeah. And when we can understand that he is a God who walks with us, and that we are like just connected with him, that's the cool thing about it. That is why I'm a Christian. He is a God who loves me, speaks with me, and I can just be me, and he walks with me and changes me on the way. But back to what I was saying, he walks on what we're so afraid of. Like it's like we're afraid of what he's already conquered. Yeah. And if we could just, I don't know, that's what I want to be more cemented in. And what I would love the youth to have is to just know his word and his presence trumps anything. Those trends are going to change. Yeah. And those people you're trying to impress aren't even seeing you right now. I'm sorry to say that.
Yeah, for sure.
They're not. And you know...
They're too busy thinking about themselves and what others are thinking about them to think about you.
And like, if I was to go back to high school, like I always thought, you know, those people were going to be in my life forever. You look at how many people from high school are in my life now. This is going to sound pretty crazy. I can't think of one who is with me right now from high school. Like we can talk, we can check, but in my day-to-day, it's changed completely. And it's like, oh, all those people I tried to impress, all that wasted energy, all that angst. Yeah. The girl I was trying to impress, no. Because I got this one. Yeah. It all changed. you know?
Funnily enough, we met in high school though. Like,
College,
same thing.
It's not the same thing. It's but it's also different. And instead of living for those 4 years, live for the future.
Yeah, and live for something that it's not just live for the future. If I can recognize him in my now,
that's good.
I make the most of now.
Yeah, that's
awesome. Like if I can.
I like that.
I don't know. We were chatting about this the other day. Something that's been blowing my mind lately is the name God gave Moses when Moses was being sent to go and like free a nation out of slavery, which sounds like this like really tricky, like where's the manual for that one? Like how do I do it, right?
What's the manual?
And I love because Moses said, well, the people aren't even going to believe you're the one that sent me. Like who do I say is sending me? And the name that he gave Moses was say I am is sending you. I am who I am. And what I loved in that is I am is a present term. It's not I was. It's not I will be. It's I am. And I just, as I was just praying and thinking on that, my mind was being blown. It was like, Lord, you knew Moses would have to know you're the God who is with him where he is right now. Yeah. He doesn't have to get somewhere to reach your presence and then hear your voice and then have that sureness and that security. He doesn't have to go back to what he used to be good at and, it used to be so much easier then. I wasn't struggling with this, and it's that constantly looking back and trying to control and trying to change and fix and compare. It was, he knew Moses would have to know, I am with you, like right here, right now. And the same for like in your school, the same for at your home with your siblings when they're driving you crazy, the same for when we're at work or wherever you are. It's like if I can if I can wake up to the fact that God is here, that I can be so sure
grounded in that, yes,
of the promise, not just the promise, but the fact that that was the name he gave. Like he associated himself with, I will be with you.
Yeah.
Right where you are, I am there.
You know, that name Emmanuel, God with us. It's like he is with us. And I love, it's a quote on one of my mugs. That actually, no, it's not. I can't remember where I saw this quote. But I've got a lot of coffee mugs. But, you know, peace isn't the absence of a storm. It's being in the storm and still having that peace, but taking that further. Peace is Jesus.
Yeah.
That I am.
He is
what you need.
Yeah.
That's why he says I am. You finish that sentence, and I really like that. So then, okay, that kind of leads into what I wanted to go into next about this whole insecurity, right? There's a lot of people acting out of responding from this place of insecurity, and it's and I'm not trying to judge. It's just so even, gosh, unless you really. No, it's something you got to practice every day. You know, because insecurity is going to hit everybody, no matter whether you're youth, adult, it doesn't matter. Yeah. When that voice of insecurity comes, how can we respond the most effective? How can we live who God has told us to be? That no longer do you have to fear being rejected because you are accepted in the beloved. That's a scripture he gives.
Yeah.
How do we walk that? How do we live a life free of insecurity?
Yeah. I mean...
It's a big question. I'm like, oh, I'm glad I didn't get that question.
I mean, when I fully know, like, I'd probably be living different too. Like, the first thing that jumps out to me in that is like, well, do I know what God says about me?
Yes, come on.
You know, like...
I'm getting excited.
You were just being able to share then on a scripture or a word that he says.
Yeah.
But do we know? Even if it's not, we don't have to know all of them. But do we have a couple in our hand that we can pull out when needed? Like, do we know what he says about us? Do you know that he says you're fearfully and wonderfully made? So when you look at yourself in the mirror and you think, I want to change this, I want to change that, I'm not like this person when I do this, or do you know that how he made you as you are, as different as you look in the mirror to how I look in the mirror, or how Jordan looks in the mirror, or how that girl or that boy at school looks in the mirror? Do you know that you are fearfully and wonderfully made?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Do you know that you are made in his likeness? Do you know that he makes you someone who has victory? Do you know he puts you above problems rather than letting you be beneath them? Do you know who he says that you are?
Yeah, I love
and,
that.
You know, I struggled with, I've got a history of really struggling with this, and I'm like step by step learning new things, right? Step by step I'm learning more and grasping more who God says I am. And not just knowing what he says, but believing it for myself.
Yeah, that there is the key, believing it.
Like taking it on. And what I had to do for a long time, actually first it started with something that you told me. So back in college and high school, I actually struggled with an eating disorder. And I was so desperate to be able to control something, so desperate to be able to have that control over something that I thought would make me more likable or appealing to people, or just I thought that made me better. And I executed that in a way of, well, I can control eating. I can't control all these other things. I can't control, you know, whatever's happening in other people's opinions. But what I can control is, I thought, was I can control eating, and I can get as skinny as possible and do all this stuff. And I struggled for a while there, to the point where I didn't just get to the point where I wasn't eating, but I would hardly eat anything all week. Wow. And I would run myself until I was almost fainting and passing out. And then it got to the point where that wasn't doing enough, and I was still getting hungry, and I couldn't understand. Like I wanted to just beat this, and being hungry seemed weak, right? Like being hungry seemed like I was losing control. So then I was ordering online appetite suppressants, so like pills to take to stop myself being hungry, so that I could go longer without eating, so I could hopefully see more effects. And I was so lost and broken and hurting and so desperate to have control and be liked and be valued and wanted by people around me, that I did this thing that was so damaging to myself. And in the moment, I didn't care. In the moment, I didn't care it was damaging to myself. What I wanted was to be approved by that person.
Man.
And it came to this point, like, I mean, God set me free from that, and praise God, because I had multiple times this was happening whilst I was coming to church. You know, this is happening whilst I was starting to become a youth leader. And it was happening as I'm trying to tell other people who God says that they are, and yet I was so struggling and battling with this, because I was so, the voice of other people was so drowning out what I was even thinking or listening to, or what I valued in myself. And I, week after week, would come up on a Sunday to get prayer. And week after week, I would maybe Sunday go away and eat a little bit more Sunday during the day, but come Monday, come through till the next week, I was down to eating maybe a Vita Wheat a day. Wow. And I was, you know, I could keep coming, but it had to, I got to a point where I heard a whisper. I heard God say, do you want to be well? You know, like you keep coming to me saying, take this away, take it away, take it away, but do you actually want to be well? Or do you want more to be liked by other people and what you think that they want from you? And so I had this like battle all the time, and I had to get to the point where when I heard that whisper, and I just broke, and I just said, Lord, I want to be well. I want to be what you've made me to be. And that was my breaking point. That was my turning point. But I remember like on the journey, like going through, like it came to a point where you were telling me, I want you to look at yourself in the mirror every day and proclaim these things over yourself. Proclaim over you that you are valuable. Proclaim, I kind of forget some of them.
No, that's good. Like, no, that's fine. Like it was, you know, you're loved.
Yeah.
You're beautiful.
Yeah.
And that's okay that you forgot, because you're so far past that now. Past it in the sense of, you know, not in a place of, oh, I'm above this, blah blah blah. But it's like, it's you haven't thought about that past anymore. It shifted your perspective, and like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you've never been more beautiful. You just, you know, and the confidence that you radiate from you, like. I'm sitting here kind of sitting back and making these faces, which you probably see, is because seeing what my wife is doing now is such a miracle. Like, you hated speaking in front of people, and you hated being in big crowds and all this stuff, but you're so healthy, you're so wise, and it's like, man, the gospel just comes out of you. But it's like, wow, look what someone went through.
Yeah.
But look what God did.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I can remember back to when you were struggling with that, and now looking at you now, and it's like, whoa, gee, you know, God did an incredible work.
Yeah.
And, you know, I love that. But I love that it's getting the word into you.
Yeah.
And actually believing it and speaking it.
Yeah. And that was like one of my other key tools. And that's the thing, like, you don't pick up these things because you feel like you're good enough to know more than other people, or you feel like you're worthy enough to be so like holy and perfect. Like, you pick up these things when you're broken, and you pick up these things when you come to Him raw and honest, and when you come to Him not being enough. Like, that's where you pick up these things. And one of the tools He gave me was to go through the Psalms, which is a book in the Bible in the Old Testament, of go through and just make the wording apply to you. Yeah. So like in Psalm 1 it says, I'll be like a tree planted by the riverbank bearing fruit in every season. I was then journaling, I am a tree planted by the riverbank and I bear fruit in every season, which means when we translate it back to what does that mean for me today, it's like, I am planted in something sure, and no matter what drought comes, no matter what things come and change and I feel exhausted, I I'm going to bear fruit and I'm going to be okay because I'm planted in him.
Yeah.
And he refreshes me.
I love that, man. Seriously, there's so much we could keep going into. But I just want to ask one more question, and I think this one's important. Because we could do a whole, just another discussion on that. That's what I'm thinking we need to do. But for someone right now listening who feels hopeless to this time, because you can look at all the videos of what's happening, and you can look at all the updates coming in of COVID, and you can just one after the other, and you think, what can I actually do? Like, so for someone who's feeling like, what can I actually do? I want to be a light. I want to change the world. How do I do that? What can I do right now?
My first thing for you to know is you can just be you. You don't have to be anybody else. No matter how perfect you think that they are, you can be you.
Yes.
Because if you are fearfully and wonderfully made, if you are made in God's image, then you need to be you. Otherwise, the world misses out.
Wow,
your friends miss out. The future, what God has for you, and the now misses out if you're not you. So I would say, what can you do? Be you. Be you. Don't get caught up in trying to be somebody else, whether that's someone else you see at your school, whether that's someone else you see on TV, on Instagram, or wherever it is on YouTube.
TikTok.
Yeah, what you can be is you can be you. And I think being you and being okay with being you is going to make the biggest difference in the world. It's going to make the biggest difference to people around you who see you being you, because you being you allows them to be them.
Yeah.
So I would say the biggest impact you can make, the biggest thing you can do in a time that's crazy, in a time that's so hard to be a young person, so hard just in general, right? Like being you will make the best difference.
Awesome. Well, there you go, guys. There's a whole bunch of gems in that. If you need to, if you've forgotten them, because sometimes you can get a whole bunch and you're like, oh yes, what was the first thing she said? Just replay the video, write it down, and if you have any questions or any prayer requests, you can reach out to us. You can reach out to all the leaders, and we are right there for you guys. Anyone else tuning in, if you're not a youth tuning in, that's fine. There's lots of gems you can take, for you. But if you need anything, we are here. You can put it in the chat. You can reach us at twincitychurch@bigpond.com, and we will be there to just kind of walk with you. But guys, go in peace, go in God's favor. He's blessing you, he loves you, and he is so real. I don't just say those words as this nice greeting. It's like, I pray that his favor is on you. I pray that he blesses you. I pray that his love is made so real to you right now. Man, I could just keep going for hours. So I'm going to stop. Love you guys. Have a good night. And for the youth, we're going to be on house party tonight. So we will see you very soon. But Taylor, thank you so much for being vulnerable and honest and sharing that story, because I think a lot of people need to hear that.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. See you guys.